So while Jason's pulling that up, he's going to share his screen. I'm actually going to like talk through the first couple slides because they're the housekeeping slides. You don't really have to see them. So we'll put the link to the presentation in the chat at the end, but we are going to give you a different way to follow along in just a second. Keep in mind that the online course, that intro course that you took this summer, we have released several new modules in there. So you can go through that self-paced, screenshots, videos to help you get used to more things in Canvas. We also have the Facebook Workplace Canvas group where teachers will post questions, answer each other's, share tips and tricks and things like that. And then we also have virtual PD on Wednesdays. Today is the last one of grading and feedback and discussions. And discussions is, I think, at 1:30. No, 11:30. I lied. 11:30. And then in the slides, when you get it at the end, you will also see a list of all of your middle and high school IPFs in case you need to know who to contact with your questions.
Okay, so you should see my screen. We're going to use Pear Deck. I think we've got an interactive activity on here. We got one person connected. Pear Deck is a fantastic tool for both virtual and live. It's more so live. If your students have devices, it's a great way of having a presentation. A lot of us use a traditional lecture in class using Google Slides. It's a real easy integration. We're using the free version, so it's perfect. What the free version is perfectly manageable. You do get a few more bells and whistles with the pay version. So you just go to joinpd.com and you type in this code. I think we're missing one person. There's only 3 people in here. 4.
Will you go back to the code? They can't see it.
Yep. So just waiting on 2 more people. It tells us how many people are connected at the bottom. And then once I start the class, you'll see all the slides on your screen. And you can kind of move away from, you can just stay on the slides if you want.
Yeah, you'll listen to us in the background. So you'll be on the pick tab on your computer.
One more. So you just have to go, there we go. All right, I'm starting class. Will you do me a quick favor and will you move to the right to see what there are 22 slides? Will you click your right arrow key to tell me what's on the next slide? How'd that work out for you?
The arrow wasn't working in my screen.
Yes, it doesn't work. Yeah, it was a trick question. What I wanted to show you, the cool thing about Pear Deck is that you as the teacher are fully in control. So if I want to move on to the next slide, that's when the students can see the next slide. If I want to move back, and so on and so forth. So the students are locked into the Pear Deck presentation. So, and the cool thing about this too is that the students can see in full HD the content that's in front of them. So imagine they've got a piece of paper or notes right in front of them, write the notes down, and they got the presentation. It is an effective tool, or it is an effective use of technology in the classroom. So if you have to have your students using technology while you're lecturing, this would be a good one. So you might want to lock it down with the Dino to only allow Pear Deck. That way, if they got their screens open, then they'll only see this information. And you can get the data back as you ask them questions. So that's the key part. So it collects data during the entire presentation. And as you ask them questions related to the content, you get that data back. So a very, very valuable teaching tool. So, all right.
And this is the part that yep.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I already did all this. So you can skip right to the first part. All right, so let's look at rubrics in Canvas. And before we do, let's look at a traditional rubric and then what is called a single point rubric. So to do this, Jason, go back, please. I'm watching your screen in order to do this.
Okay.
So in order to make a rubric, let's think about the idea of breakfast in bed, because that's something I think we all could describe, and we could all say what is good and what is not so good. So in a traditional rubric, you're going to have your categories. So you see that when it comes to your like project or assignment of breakfast in bed, you have the food, you have the presentation, and you have the comfort. And then for each category, each criteria, you have point values, so 1 through 4, and it works like a matrix. So if you are getting 2 points for food, then you kind of, you match those up. And that is because some food is colder or warmer than it should be. It's under or over seasoned or under or overcooked. So as the student, I can look at this and I can kind of see, okay, here, if I need a certain score, here's where I need to fall in the different areas. And if y'all wouldn't mind muting, just so that there's no background noise. Sorry, I feel like I'm starting to yell to like talk over people. So you can kind of figure out the best point values there. And this is good, but as the teacher, it is going to take you a decent amount of time to create, which is why, full disclosure, I didn't use a whole lot of rubrics when I was in the classroom, because it just took a lot of time to create. And I did not know about single point rubrics. So thank you. Here is a single point rubric. So in a single point rubric, you still have the task of breakfast in bed, but you have your criteria down the center. And the idea of a single point rubric is you either met that standard or you didn't. You either got 1 point or you didn't. So your task would be graded out of, in this case, 3 points. And the beauty of single point rubrics, not only is it easier for you as the teacher to create, but I think as a student, I can look at this and I know what the expectation is. I can't really fluctuate between 1 and 4 points. I either need to make sure that the food is served on a clean tray with a napkin and silverware and maybe some, decorations, maybe a nice little flower. I either need to do that or I'm not going to get the points. So you kind of set this bar that students can reach. And then as the teacher, what you're going to do is it allows you to give suggestions for how you can improve or how the student exceeded that. So there are ways where students can go above and beyond, and you can recognize that in a single point rubric. So we're going to use the idea of a single point rubric to show you how rubrics may work in Canvas.
Okay. Let me see if I remember how this part goes.
You want me to do this part?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So let's pretend that you're giving your students this assignment. So you're giving them a Google slide template of a Netflix show. And you're taking your content, so whatever you teach, and you're going to have them create a show about, maybe tell them they're going to create a documentary, or they're going to create a movie that's about your topic, or, fill in the blank, whatever you teach. But this is what you want them to turn in. You want them to take this template and you want them to replace the image, the text. You want them to edit it to reflect your content area, your class, whatever the task is that you're giving them. So I want you to think of that as kind of the end goal, is that's what you're asking students to do. And on your screens right now, So on your screens right now, you should have a text box. And what we want you to do is we want you to think about, if you gave this assignment to your students tomorrow, if you gave them that Netflix template and asked them to fill things in and replace things to fit your class, what expectations would you have for the finished product? What would you expect them to do? Or what would you expect their final submission to have on it or to include?
I'm going to go back to the presentation just real quick so you can take a look at it. This is a Google slide template. So if you actually click on it, it'll make a copy of it for you and put it in your drive. So you can use it with your students, and the teachers that have used it have gotten a ton of positive feedback from the students. This is a favorite activity. You know, it's very, very relevant. Everybody loves some Netflix. You know, and it is more than just this one page. It's multiple pages long, and you can use just this page, or you could use multiple pages in the rubric or in the activity. So what is it that we're looking for here? If you were to give this page to these students, what would it be? Would you have a relevant picture?
Don't give too much away.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking for responses. And this is where Pear Deck shines, right? Because I'm going to see your answers in a minute. But at the end, I have full access and I can actually see who responded, right? It's going to give us anonymous responses, but at the end, I can see who responded, what time they responded. So it's a very powerful tool for going back and just checking.
And you will be able to click and get your own copy of that Netflix template when we give you the link to the presentation at the end. So you can actually click it from Pear Deck.
Yeah, they actually can.
Really?
Yeah. Found that out yesterday. At the all links in Pear Deck are clickable.
Cool. Well, I lied then.
But they can't click on it now because they're locked on this screen.
Yeah.
I didn't think they were clickable either, but I had them. So it opens up in a new tab. It's super cool.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, if you were quick on the draw there, then but we'll still give it to you at the end.
As if I needed more reasons to love Pear Deck.
That's
I'm gonna run out of room with all these.
Are you gonna make your Are you gonna make your tattoo joke right now?
No, I was going to.
Were you? Oh, sorry. Did I ruin it?
That's okay. No, I think the Pear Deck icon is a little too cutesy. You know. It might be cute for like maybe lower back. You know.
Okay. We are recording this one, so.
Okay. See, exactly. That's what. All right. Show responses. All right. Title change, full description, photo change, any information listed. Okay. Absolutely. And the cool thing about rubrics is what the students can look at is, am I getting a point if I change the title? Boom, change the title. Full description. Am I getting a point for changing the description? Boom, change the description. Change the picture. Relevant picture, title, short, relevant description, rating. I would have an expectation that they do the work well. That's good. That is really, really good. Okay. So we can add that as as one of our points in our rubric. All right, great. You guys did good. The 3 people that answered, very, very good. All right.
So now Jason's going to go into Canvas and he's going to show you.
You have to give me a second to get in there.
Yeah, that's okay.
Oh, cool. I didn't have to authenticate here. All right, so we're just going to hop into my sandbox here. And this is it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take you into this one, a model module, just to kind of reiterate.
Are you ready to go on a rabbit trail?
A small rabbit trail.
Okay, we have 40 minutes left. No. Yes, 40 minutes left.
So I just want to reiterate that it is difficult. That Canvas was designed around modules, and serving up information, all your content in modules makes a lot of sense. Here's one I've been playing around with. Obviously, this I did find yesterday that if you click here and edit, you have much more room to name your assignment. You can change, because you're limited when you create a new activity. We'll go in here and we'll actually create an assignment. New assignment, you're limited by the space, the number of
characters.
Number of characters you can have. But
and while he's doing this, so if you want to see his screen, hopefully we're not totally going to lose you, but you would need to be on the Google Meet tab right now so that you could be watching his screen, and then we'll tell you when to go back to your Pear Deck tab. So your Google Meets tab is going to have a little green bubble with a white video icon in it. And that way you can see exactly what he's doing in his Canvas.
Okay, so here I've created an assignment in my module, and I want it to be, actually it wouldn't be called rubric, it would be called an assignment. I might call it practice it, right? So I'm gonna go back in here and rename it, edit, practice it.
Netflix.
Yeah, it's not really the Netflix activity.
But just as an example.
Yeah, just as an example. All right, so then I would go into my assignment, and you can put rubrics in assignments, and you can put them in quizzes, which is a little bit weird, and you can put them in discussions. And this is where you'd add your rubric. But before we do that, we're going to click on Edit, and we're just going to ask the students to do something. I might say, here are the directions, and I like to make the directions red, right? Making the directions red in your course and maybe even italics is going to make it stand out, right? That's not my idea. I got that from Catherine. I stole that, but it makes a lot of sense. And then whatever my directions are, we'll just say the directions are use the template, create, whatever, right? And then I might attach a link to that template in here for the students. It's really this simple. Let's see here. Copy. Okay, they would just need to click on that, and I would create my points. How do you want me to do points here, Catherine?
Do like 5 points, and we'll make the rubric only 3, and we'll just show them what happens if they don't match.
All right.
And then all those settings, we're not going to explain in detail those just for the sake of time. But if you are wondering what you should set it as, then you can email your ITF.
Okay, so once I've created my assignment, you would think by default that the rubric would go in here somewhere inside of the settings for the assignment, but it doesn't. It does not live there. Where it lives is on this page. It lives on the actual activity. So when the students actually click on it, they'll see the activity from the student view, and they'll see the rubric. So let's go ahead and create the rubric. So one cool thing is, once you've created the rubric, you can actually click Find a Rubric here, and it'll take you to your rubrics, which is cool. So the first one you create is going to take a minute or two, but after you create that first one or first 2 or 3, you can go back and you can reuse and you can repopulate. So the first thing we do is criteria. What are some of the criteria we were looking for?
And Jason, hold on, because this is a nice thing about finding a rubric is you can find it from another one of your classes. So you could create it for first period Canvas course, and then when you're creating it in third period, you can go into first and pull that in. So it can cross Canvas courses, which just means you can reuse rubrics across courses, which is really, really nice.
So thank you, Catherine. When I clicked on Find Rubric, it's showing me the different courses. These are the courses that I've got that have rubrics in them, and I can go and I could actually click on that and actually use it if I wanted to. But we're going to start from scratch. So criteria would be title, and then I would have a long description. I would have feature.
And while he's typing this, I'm going to just explain why you may want to do this. So when you go into the Speedgrader and grade it, the rubric will only show you the description. So it's only going to have the word title, but you will have an option to click and see the longer description. So what I like to do is I like to make the main description detailed enough so that I don't actually have to click the long description when I'm grading to remind myself what I'm looking for as the teacher. But the long description is really good for students to know exactly what they're expected to do.
And so this is going to be a single point, whether you get it or you don't get it, and then the number of points. Then I would add an additional criteria. And the description would be picture. And change 1 point. Another one would be, what was another one?
I think description was one of the responses. One thing that you may also want to do on an assignment like this is ask students to use at least 3 vocabulary terms from the unit.
Okay, it's kind of a pain, to be honest with you, to create this, but like we said, once you've got one created, you can reuse it and then just quickly tweak it. So this is a single point, and you may just go in here and you can quickly, you've already got the criterion, you can just quickly go in and change the title. Maybe you want to only have the title. You don't need the long description. So they're very, very helpful if to guide students and what you expect from them. But then also, here's where the magic comes in is
before you get there, sorry, will you show them, like how they would add more point values if they wanted to do a traditional rubric?
Okay. So if we wanted to add a 5-point or a 3-point activity, what we could do is we could just click the little plus button right in here, and it's going to give us a, so what we would add this one as 1 point.
You already have 1 point, I think.
Okay. So I would have to change the other one to 3 points. The title contains vocabulary word. See, and what it did is it automatically changed that, right? I wanted to put that over there. There's my 1 point.
So, yeah, wherever you click the little plus, it's going to add that criteria there. So if you wanted to do a traditional, but you can see that would be a lot of buttons to push. So that's why we wanted to show you the single point rubric.
Okay. Easy for grading. You really need to press this button right here. Use this rubric for assignment grading. Create rubric. All right. You want to talk about this for a second, Catherine?
Yeah. So basically what happened is when we created the assignment, Jason marked the assignment as being worth 5 points. But when he created the rubric, the total points available on the rubric is only 3. So because those don't match up, basically what it says is students won't earn more than 60%, because that is, they are only able to earn 3 points out of what you said was a 5-point assignment. So if you ever get this message, always click change, because you want your rubric to match your total points so that students can earn an 100%.
Okay, that's it. And let's want to take a look at what it looks like from the student view. Let's we can publish that. So from the student view, this is what it looks like.
I think it's, I see it under practice it Netflix activity down below your people emoji.
Right here.
Yeah.
So the student sees the directions, the information, and then they have the criteria right here. They can see the rubric plain as day. It's always in the same place. It's always below whatever you put in the WYSIWYG editor. And they can click submit the assignment, and they've got the text entry, the website, whatever I've told them they've got access to. You are a great teacher, Mr. M. And submit. Yay. Okay.
If y'all didn't know that it did that, Canvas does give them confetti when they submit something.
Because life is more fun with confetti.
Always.
Sometimes it can get stuck places, you know. So all right. Now back
so that's
to
rubrics.
Do what?
I said so that's rubrics. So now let's look at, you have a rubric, let's look at the Speedgrader and giving students better feedback. So we have a screenshot here, and we're just going to point out the highlights. And then Jason's actually going to go in to the Speedgrader and show you he's going to walk you through the steps. But basically, you've got the gear in the top left corner, which is some basic settings that are going to be nice to allow you to sort or filter or organize your Speedgrader to make grading easier. In the top right corner, you've got some data, and you can easily skip from one student to another. Right underneath that, where it says late, what I really like about that is that's where you're going to get a timestamp of every student's submission. And with an assignment in Canvas, if you allow them multiple attempts, it will actually give you every time they've submitted, and it will give you a drop-down menu where you can view each submission. So if you allow them to submit an assignment 3 times and they submit 3 times, you can see all 3 submissions. So it's just a good record and history. And then you have the point value, and then the other fun things I'll let Jason show you.
Okay.
Within Canvas.
All right, let's go back to our Canvas course. And to access Speedgrader, you can do it in a couple different places, but one of the easiest places to get it is actually on the assignment. So let me go back to my modules and show you how I got back in here. So I go down to the actual activity. I click on the activity. In the upper right-hand corner, I have access to Speedgrader. You'll also see that Speedgrader is available in the gradebook. We're going to get to that in a minute, and I'll show you that. So I'm just going to click on Speedgrader, and I will see all the students that are in the class. There's only 1. If there was a list, and this little dot means that that student has turned it in, but it hasn't been graded yet. When that dot turns to a check mark, the assignment has been graded. If I click this little down arrow, and it'll give me a list of the students, if they haven't turned it in yet, they'll be grayed out. And you can move from student to student by clicking to the right or left arrow. Very, very helpful. Okay. It does give you a preview of the assignment, the information that was turned in by the student, which is very helpful as well. So in order to grade the assignment, watch how quickly this lets me grade it. So I can click View Rubric, and I can actually grade it with the rubric. So I could give them a physical grade.
Will you drag that window larger so they can, yeah.
So to make the window larger, all I did is just grab those little 3 dots right there and move it over. So if I give them a physical grade right here, as soon as I type in that number, it's going to grade it for that student. So I don't want to do that. I don't actually have to hit the submit button. The submit button is only for comments. But I'm going to show you how to grade it with a rubric, which is super awesome. Actually, let me show you how to grade it without the rubric. So let's say they got a 1. As soon as I click off of it, you see a check right there? That student has been graded. If I wanted to grade it from a rubric, all I need to do is go here. And this is because we click allow grading with rubric, all I need to do is go down and say the student did that, they didn't do that, and they did that. And then the grade, after I save it, becomes a 2. Oh, I mean, can I get an ooh and an ah here for a second? I mean, this is awesome. There's a rubric that I've got that my students have used to create their content, and all I have to do is click on it to add the grade. Can I get a virtual ooh and an ah, maybe? Anyone?
Ooh, ah.
You can always count on Lee. Yeah, there. Thank you, Bethany. Got the ooh in there. It's super cool. And as a teacher, it's very transparent. The student will get to see which ones you clicked on as well. So they can see, oh, I didn't get full credit because I didn't do this one thing. So I love it. It's not a gotcha game. It is just a really, really cool tool. And yes, it is a little bit of work on the front end, but like we said, if you create it, you could reuse them.
It also makes it more objective too. So you're not grading and giving some students 70 and some students a 75 because you just, you're doing it in your head. It allows you to click down and you're being fair for everyone.
I want to reiterate in Speedgrader though, this is the part that messed me up running my own classes, is that I would want to always click the submit button. And in reality, it's as soon as you type in that number, the grade becomes active. Right, so the submit is only for comments, and that's going to lead us to comments.
All right, so let's look at giving students feedback, because using a rubric is really helpful, and students will know how many points they got and where they maybe didn't meet your expectation. But if you give students comments and you give them more feedback, then they're going to have a better understanding, and they're also going to know how to improve in the future. But this can be really difficult. If you're like me, my brain kind of goes blank when I'm trying to give comments. And a lot of times it's just like, this is really good, or it's kind of surface level things. So I actually have this image that's on the screen of feedback sentence stems at my desk so that I can refer to it if I'm giving feedback. You are actually going to get your very own copy. We are sending them in the courier later this week, so you should get it next week in your boxes. So look for that. But what we want you to do is, in Pear Deck, you now have a text box entry. We want you to look at that infographic over on the left. So it is on the Civil War. It's got some images. It's got some text, some information. And we want you to pick one of those feedback stems on the right and give pretend feedback to this Civil War infographic by a student. So what might you tell students? What feedback might you give them based on if this was their submission or not? Jason, do you have a door open?
Nope. There's very, very thin walls.
Oh, wow. It's loud today. All right, so let's see what you guys are saying. Yeah.
See how cool Pear Deck is? It actually lets me see while you guys are typing in there. Whoever's doing this, it's very, very good. It's a lot to type, though, isn't it? Okay, cool. So having this little piece of paper that we're going to be sending out to you it'll help you give more effective feedback to your students. You know, because when I'm sitting there, I'm grading 30, 60, 90, assignments. You kind of get real quick and real short with them. But I like how I like how you did X. Or this one is going to be really, really good for the activity we just did. I just reviewed your work. When I checked it against the rubric, I think my concern is that you missed X, right? Now I'm going to show you how technology can help you be more effective, right? So typing all that, whoever typed this first one, I mean, that is absolutely incredible, right? But typing all that for 90 kids, it can be a lot. But you know what I can do all day long?
So you're back. You guys want to be in the Google Meet tab right now so that you can see Jason doing this in his own canvas.
Okay, so here we go. In comments, it's right here in Speedgrader. So I'm going to give this student a comment. And what I said I can do all day long is I can talk better than I can type. And technology gets better and better every day. What we've got integrated right here is you'd think that would let me leave a recorded audio comment, but it does not. What it does is it allows me to use speech recognition, just like you see right there. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to look real quick at, I just reviewed your work. All right, let's see here. I click the record button, and whatever I say is going to be turned into text. And when I'm done, when I click the stop button, it's going to let me edit it. So it's pretty darn good. And I can say to the students, I like what you did here. And it looks like I typed a whole bunch of stuff. And in reality, I just talked to my computer. And you want to do this probably in a place where no one can see you because you'll look a little bit strange talking to your computer. Boom. The finicky little bar there. Here we go. I can come back in here and I can. Bam. How about some digital oohs and ahs?
Ooh.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's incredible. It's a good one. The other way you could do it is you could add an attachment, like maybe you forgot this component, or you can give them a video feedback. And this could be very, very helpful if the students turn in an assignment with a video. Let's try this. So all I need to do here is I'm going to give you, maybe I've got a whiteboard over here or something, or it's going to give you some verbal feedback. And what's really, really cool about using the video or audio recording tool I'm going to show you is that a lot of times feedback can be misconstrued. I know that you guys have never misconstrued a written message that someone has sent you, but students that might not have the command of the English language like you do might struggle a little bit. So what you can't mess up on is a recorded message. The student can't misinterpret that because they can see your facial expression. So I just click start recording. It pulls from my webcam and it gives me the nice countdown. And I say, I really liked how you did that thing with the pie chart. That was fantastic. The pie chart's actually over here. But keep up the good work. You know, you're a stellar student and all that good stuff. And then I click finish, and it's not the greatest thumbnail, but that's okay. That's all right. But it adds it right there for my student to watch. And then I can click submit. This is where you actually do have to click submit.
Yeah, if you don't click submit, Canvas will hold your comment kind of in draft mode if you leave to go to another student, but the student won't actually see your comment until you click the red submit button. So just make sure that you do that.
If you're waiting for something magical to happen, it doesn't. It just outlines the submit button in red. And then you would go to the next student. But I don't have any more students. So back to the presentation.
All right, so the last little part we have is a gradebook. And basically the gradebook is going to be where you can go to obviously view and give grades if you want. But there are some ways that you can make the gradebook work for you through like filtering and different views. So that's what we want to show you today. Is we're not going to dive too much into the gradebook, but we do want you to see how it may make things a little easier for you if you are using it.
So back to the gradebook, that button in Speedgrader took me directly to my gradebook. If I want to go back to my class, the way I got to the gradebook was here. And I only have one student in there, and it shows me the assignment was turned in right here. From this part, I can, in the gear, I'll come back to that in a second. So what I want to show you here is, by default, for some particularly strange reason, Canvas likes to sort by student's first name, and that's probably not how you want your gradebook structured. So whenever you see these in each one of these columns, whenever you see the 3 dots in Canvas, that means there's more, and you want to click on that. So I'm just going to click right here under student name, and I'm going to sort by student Z to A. Actually, display as last name, first name, right? And then I can change it sort by. So it gives me control of the information that's in that particular column. And if I have inactive enrollments showing, I want to, if you see students that are inactive in your course, you want to click that button to disable those students. In Gradebook, are there certain things, Catherine, you want them to look at here?
Yeah, really it's sorting by name, view.
Yep.
So view is,
okay.
Yeah, the 3-dot menu. So what view is going to allow you to do is the first thing, if you notice on his gradebook, all of his unpublished assignments are showing up, which is fine. But it can just get, the more assignments you have, that can just make your gradebook kind of go to the right for a long time. So what I would do is, you'll notice down at the bottom of this menu, there's a check mark beside unpublished assignments. If Jason clicks that, it's going to uncheck published assignments, and it will not show them in the gradebook anymore. Will you actually do that? It's just going to make it a little more manageable. As soon as you are in your module and you publish that assignment for students to do, it will show it in your gradebook. In all honesty, I can't think of a reason that you may want the assignment showing up in the gradebook if it's not published for students yet. But you may have a reason, totally fine. The other one is, I think it's filters. If you hover over filters. Yeah, so you can filter by modules or assignment groups. So what modules allows you to do is pull only the assignments from a certain module and display them. Now, this is your gradebook. So keep in mind, if you have grades visible in your student navigation, this is not changing anything for your students. This is all for you, the teacher. So you can organize by modules, which is going to make it, again, easy because it's going to pull out just the assignments in that module that you've chosen so that those are the only ones you're viewing. And then assignment groups, yeah.
I was going to say the other cool thing is that if you've got sections in your course, if you've divided your students, if you created sections A day, B day, right? If you divided your students into sections, it will give you another option down here to filter by section. So if you just want to grade assignments for your A day kids or your B day kids, that becomes available if you add a section. So that's kind of cool. I saw that yesterday with working with a teacher. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then I think the gear is the, yep.
Automatically apply a grade for missing assignments. So you can put a 0 in there. This one, I think right here would violate our policy. You know, it's you create a certain percentage by the hour. So you could decrease you could deduct a 10.
Usually it's like 10 points per day up to 3 days, I think is what that's at least what we always use.
Yeah, so there you go. We would make this a 0, or you'd make it a 50 maybe. Update. And that changes it permanently. Mm-hmm. Not permanently, but you don't have to do that every single time. It's a overarching master control for your gradebook. I think we are going to go into the little trick here, but one of the other things I like, if you have lots of students and most of them got 100, you can click on the little 3 dots right here. And what it will do is you can use you can set a default grade. So I can come in here and I can set a default grade for 3 out of 10, or if I had 100, I could do that and set the default grade. And then if only 1 or 2 of my students missed it, you know, maybe it's one of those assignments. I had some of those assignments when I was in the classroom where most of the kids did, you know, they got 100, and then you can just go back and manually edit the grade that the kid that didn't get 100, they got a 1 out of 3. And it's just an easier way of doing it.
I think there was one more thing in the settings.
Okay. Sorry.
In the gear, the grade posting policy. Yeah. Just so that you know what this means. So again, he clicked the gear over on the far right of the gradebook, and the second tab.
I'm showing him again.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the second tab is grade posting policy. So what this means is it allows you to choose if you want students to automatically see their grade as soon as you grade it, or if you want to hold grades from students until you choose to release it. There's pros and cons for both. Honestly, I would use automatically post grades because it's just one less button for me to have to remember to click. But you could do manually post grades so that, like, if you're going to go in and you only have time to grade 10 students' assignments, those 10 students aren't going to see their grade while the other 20 students in this class don't see a grade. So that is just, like I said, just so you're aware of what those mean.
And see,
sorry.
It changed it all to manual right there.
Mm-hmm. I think Bethany had a question about the late point deduction.
Yeah, I just really quickly, is it possible to do a late point deduction on just an individual assignment and not all of them?
You'd have to manually take off points, but you can't set like a default per assignment.
Yeah, everything in the gear is a global setting for your grades.
So when you went in to grade like Joe's assignment, if he had turned it in late, instead of giving him 100, you'd have to just manually type in a 90. And then what I would do in the assignment comments is type like minus 10 points for late or something like that.
Okay, second question then related to that. It says that if I were to turn that on now, it would retrofit everything prior. So I'm not going to do that for this 9 weeks. So if I start that the second 9 weeks, does it just start with the second 9 weeks, or is it going to go back? And
honestly, I think it's going to go back because Canvas doesn't really know quarters. Canvas just knows like a class as running or not running.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
This is some cool technology magic here.
Is this me or you?
That's you.
Okay. So in the gradebook, there is a really cool option. You may have caught it when Jason was showing you the 3-dot menu for an assignment, a particular assignment. But in that 3-dot menu, there's an option that says message students who. And what you can do, he's going to show you in just a second, but you can actually send subgroups of students a message based on criteria. So one of them is score less than. So what you can do is you can actually send a Canvas message to students who score less than the point value you type in, and you can give them additional support. So you could send them additional resources. You could ask them to resubmit to improve their grade. You could tell them that they need to come see you on Thursday when they get to school so that you can give them additional support. You could tell them that on Wednesday they need to set up a time to do a Google Meet with you so that you can review content or review their work. You can also send a message to students who just haven't had a grade yet, and tell them that they're going to see their grade by the end of the week. Again, it's just being a little bit more supportive, and it's anticipating student questions, because you all probably know as well as we do that if an assignment is due on Tuesday, by like Thursday, Friday, some student is emailing you saying, when am I going to get my grade? So you can always, if you're going in and you're grading as best you can, but you haven't had an opportunity to grade all students yet, you could just send them a message and say, I'm working through grading this. You should see a grade by Friday. So it's just going to kind of, like I said, anticipate student questions and clear up any questions before they arise. So again, this is kind of an easy one, but Jason's going to show you kind of what it looks like. Again, you do this from the gradebook.
It's going to look less awesome because I've only got one student in here. But if I click on the 3 dots, I've got the option to go back into Speedgrader, the default grade that I showed you, but the message students who, and this is anonymous, it's basically going to send a blind carbon copy email or notification, rather, Canvas notification, which the students will get an email if they've not turned off the Canvas notifications. To all students who haven't submitted yet, you can say, hey, y'all, or hey, guys, that we have, don't forget that this massive assignment is due tonight, and then send the message. But I don't have anybody who hasn't submitted that. If I had students who didn't have this submitted, all their names would be listed here in blue boxes. So the box is blue and the text is white, and there's a little X next to it.
Can you go to use the drop down so they can see what that looks like?
Okay, so so scored less than. So students that scored less than 3, which this should have pulled. Yes.
I don't know what you scored. Do more than 0.
More than 0. Less than 0. More than 0. I don't know why it's not pulling that one. Maybe because it's a test student. That test.
They don't have an email. Oh, you just manually, yeah.
Let me go to a different course. We'll go to this bad boy. Grades.
So we're just going to a different course now, just so you can see what those student lists look like. And of course, now it wants to be really slow loading.
There's a lot of. Okay. Here we go. Why is messaging off?
That was just complete, incomplete. You need to choose one that has paper.
Yeah. Sends message to. There we go. So students who haven't submitted yet, right? All I do is if I don't want it to send it to this person or this person right here, because he's not going to do it anyway, I just click off of that.
You're not actually going to send this message, right?
Of course not. No.
Okay.
So then you also have students have scored less than 65. There you go. You can change the subject, the message, and you just click send the message. And you actually have to have something in that box in order to send it, right? So that's a super cool tool. I don't know about you guys, but I am all about using technology to be smarter, work smarter, not harder, right? So using the voice to text for comments, using the emailing, not emailing the students directly, but using the tool to automatically find the students that haven't submitted it yet. Sometimes high school students and middle school students, they need a little nudge, and using the tool, technology is designed to make us more effective, right? It's not designed to replace the teacher. It's just basically a tool that superpowers the teacher, right? So I believe that is everything we've got for you guys. We do have a little artifact submission for you guys to be able to get renewal credit.